Welcome to another edition of Hardcore Wrestling Radio, where we say screw the pipe bombs and we drop the F-bombs. In other words, HWR is not a fucking babysitting service. Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of Hardcore Wrestling Radio. I'm your hardcore host, Rick Head, and of course I got the whole crew here with me. First, he's my partner, he's my sidekick, he's the son of a bitch, Andy.
Hi everybody, and thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoyed last week's show, and if you didn't, listen to it.
And of course, next, from Lance Moss TV, he's the incomparable Lance Moss. Lance, how are we doing?
And if you didn't like the Nikita Koloff, or Nikolai Volkov interview, get you some Fuck It Off, 10,000 milligrams.
And we would like to welcome back after a month's hiatus, he's James from the Big Easy. James, how we doing?
Don't expect this to be a weekly thing. I'm just here for this week. I'm gonna go back on my hiatus, back to work until next month, and then I'll be free for a while.
All right, well, it's good having you back. Well, let's get down to business. Last night, I'd like to say I'd had the privilege, but unfortunately I didn't. I had to watch the movie Hercules with Dwayne Johnson, and I wish I could. The movie sucked, guys. There was nothing really good about it. I watched it for about an hour, and I was done with it. It was like a cheap imitation of 300. It was just absolutely terrible. I've usually liked Rock's movies, but this one was a big loss. But if I do have to give a good review on something, it's Lucha Underground. Lance, you saw Lucha Underground. What do you think of it?
Well, I've seen a little bit of it, and I know who's in it, because I know Conan's behind, or part of it, and so is Janet Morrison, or his... I think this could be something that rivals, I wouldn't say WWE, but could be something that takes TNA's place.
Right now, Andy, I think anything could take TNA's place.
I've only heard you talking about it earlier before we came on air. Something I'm going to have a look out for on the internet, if it's available on the internet. I will say what I said to you earlier. I watched a Luchador. It's legit. It's not illegal. I'm not doing anything illegal streaming. On my tablet, there's a thing. It's a bit like Netflix, but you can watch various different shows from all around the world. And one of them just happens to be a Lucha Libre wrestling show. And as I said to Rick earlier, it's like watching 6 matches, Rey Mysterio against Rey Mysterio. And after the second or third match, I lost interest. I lost the will to live because it was just too fast, too high-paced. Wasn't my cup of tea, but I can't speak for this other company because it's not obviously all high-flying. It's a mixture of everything, so could be interesting to see what happens, and hopefully they will give Dixie a run for her money because she needs to get her act together, because I just don't know what to say about TNA. I was a massive fan, but I can't remember the last time I actually watched it. In fact, I missed a pay-per-view and didn't even cry about it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I don't even think that... I've watched TNA in the past couple of weeks live, or I guess when it's aired. We can't call it live, can we? I used to do like live play-by-plays on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Hardcore Wrestling Radio, and now I just do reviews. I'll watch it whenever I get around to it, because I have better things to do on Wednesday nights. It's just that simple. James, over to you. You have seen Lucha Underground. What's your take on it?
I've seen bits and parts of it, and I think it's a good thing. I think the only thing really that's the problem with it is that it's on... Somehow I found out I have the cable network on my cable, but for other people, they might not have that network, which, that might be the only flaw of it, is the network, but overall it's a good program. As Lance said, that this could be the way to take over TNA, but we have to remember, also go look at the fact that we might have Global Force Wrestling coming up soon.
And actually, speaking of Global Force Wrestling, while we're talking about that, Jim Ross has actually joined Global Force Wrestling as a commentator. And I think that's really a huge feather in Jeff Jarrett's cap. Jim Ross is a WWE Hall of Famer, probably one of the world-renowned commentators. And I don't know really what happened with the WWE, or why they felt they had to let him go. Andy, what are your thoughts?
Dropped the ball, to be perfectly honest, with getting rid of Jim Ross. I really do think they dropped the ball. He was badly treated before they got rid of him in that so-called pre-show thing that he was doing. Was it Comic-Con or something that he was on? I don't think that's the real reason why they got rid of him. I really don't. They've still got Ric Flair in there, and Ric Flair, to be honest, was a complete arse all the way through the show, what I saw.
Well, that's an interesting point. Now, Ric Flair is well known to be a personal friend of Triple H. Do you think this is more of a politic issue? What are your thoughts?
I can remember watching an interview, and I think it was an official WWE interview, where it was like one of these round table things where they've got legends sitting around the table, and it was hosted by Jim Ross, and they were talking about various different things that went on in the industry, and somebody brought up China, and Jim Ross verbalised the story that the people have heard on this show on more than one occasion. Triple H talking to China when they were engaged and said, one day all this will be mine, and he told that story, and I don't think Triple H liked it.
Lance, what's your thoughts about this?
Well, I'm not sure why he left. I wish he'd come back and kick Cole out the damn seat, but that's just me. It was hell get rid of JBL, either two. But TNA's loss, WWE's loss is Global Forces a game. This pretty much gives them a lot more credibility. When you have good old JR, that's almost like having Heenan and Monsoon.
And James, over to you. What's your thoughts about Jim Ross going to go out Global Force Wrestling?
What y'all have been saying really is that, the fact that we don't know what the real reason why JR was released. Was it because of that incident with Ric Flair during that WrestleMania 2K14 panel, or was it something else, or was he just not liked by McMahon? We don't know anything, but now he's joining Global Force Wrestling, and that could be good.
Now we're going to talk about who is the fifth person for Team Cena. We know that right now so far we have John Cena, Dolph Ziggler, we have The Big Show, and Sheamus. Yeah, Shamus. So this was the cue of the day for HWR, and I posted them on several groups. The top three guys that people were looking for they said it was Ryback could be one, Roman Reigns could be another one, and CM Punk could be the possible third. Now, I want to get this one out of the way. CM Punk, I don't see that happening. That's about a 10% chance of that really happening. For me, Roman Reigns, unless if they want to bring him back as a shock and bring him back early, that's very possible too, but my personal guess is Ryback. Andy, I'm going to go with you. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Ryback. I think they're dangling the carrot for Roman Reigns, which I don't think is going to happen, and Ryback's been on TV too much this last 2 weeks for it not be him.
James, over to you.
Well, yeah, it's going to be Ryback. Punk is 1%, slim to none, no chance in hell. Roman Reigns is be more the surprise, as you said, but, Ryback coming back with a face reaction means he's going to be one of the top guys until Roman Reigns come back, which I think he might come back at Royal Rumble for the surprise.
All right. And Lance, over to you.
Well, on the Punk thing, we had a better chance of Triple H and Stephanie McMahon having a live sex celebration on Raw this coming Monday night than we do of seeing Punk at Survivor Series this year. And, yeah, I got to go with y'all. It's probably going to be Ryback because I don't see them bringing Reigns in till Rumble like James said.
All right. So now we're going to move on to our last piece of news which is Alberto Del Rio. He's retracted his statement. Now, this past week, apparently, Alberto was making a whole bunch of statements about WWE being racist. Since Alberto has left the WWE, he was not able to work anywhere in the United States. So we had actually talked about this very same topic over on Will's Saturday show in the news. And Alberto Del Rio just posted this over on his Twitter account. He said, "The following my departure from the WWE, an understanding was reached with my regards from the future booking opportunities. We have wished each other well within our future endeavors." So I think that says it all, guys, that WWE and Alberto Del Rio have pretty much shaken hands and walked away. James, what do you think about this?
Me and Lance was talking about this. They just basically gave Alberto Del Rio lots of money just to shut him up. That's all it is. They just made a deal. It's like, hey, we let you have your thing and we give you your money. Just shut up now.
And you know what? That's a very fair point. I mean, he was like shaking that racism stick for really pretty loudly, and for the WWE to finally get him to stop waving that stick is to give him what he wants. Andy, doesn't that sound about right?
Oh, unmute microphone. Yes, I fully agree.
Okay. And Lance, your thoughts?
That sumbitch got paid to shut the fuck up.
All right. I wouldn't put it in that exact words, but hey, it works here over on Hardcore Wrestling Radio. All right, and now we're finally going to move on to our next segment, Controversies and Scandals, with Lance Moss. Lance, what do you got?
Okay, this is actually one that's currently going on, from what I understand. Billy Jack Haynes sued WWE, claiming he got Hep C during a bloody match. A former wrestler is suing Vince McMahon's company, claiming he contracted Hep C during a bloody match, WWE wrestling match. And he's not the only one. The man behind the lawsuit is Billy Jack Haynes, who claims that WWE went out of its way to put wrestlers in danger by encouraging steroid abuse and cocaine abuse and hiding important medical information from the wrestlers. Hayes, who wrestled for McMahon between 1986 and 1988, says the organization never warned wrestlers about long-term health risks of concussions and they suffered in the ring. In the suit filed in federal court in Oregon, Haynes also blames WWE for his Hep C diagnosis, saying he contracted the illness during a blood-soaked match with an infected wrestler. Haynes says WWE is at fault for not doing a better job in protecting the wrestlers from exposure. Haynes has brought the lawsuit on behalf of himself and others. He is demanding $5 million, and the WWE has issued the following statement denying allegations and explains that it would have been impossible for WWE to have hidden info about concussions from Haynes because it hadn't been discovered the time he wrestled for the organization. WWE has also added, WWE has had a head of sports organizations in implementing concussion management and procedures and precautionary measures as science and research has emerged. You guys' thoughts?
I was talking to Rick before we come on air about Billy Jack Haynes, and he's the guy who says that Chris Benoit's child is Vince McMahon. So that guy is he's a brick, as we call in the UK, he's a brick short of a load. He isn't all there. But if you guys want to watch a good shoot interview, just look at the Billy Jack Haynes shoot interview on YouTube. It's quite easily findable. Get yourself a nice drink, because it does drag on for about 2 hours, but you will be killing yourself of laughter by the end of it. Well worth a watch.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not really familiar with Billy Jack Haynes. I know the name. I vaguely remember him back in the WWF, but he wasn't that memorable for me. So, to be honest with you, I know that from what I understand, he's like I said, a little bit off.
He makes the Iron Sheik look sane.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much. As far as how he got the Hep C, you can't really prove as to how he got it from or who he got it from. I mean, if he only wrestled those 2 years, then yeah. But if he hasn't wrestled with other companies, then who's to say that other company didn't give it? It just seems like he knows he can hit the WWE up because obviously the WWE usually pays out. Is it possible? It is very well possible, but, and as far as the concussion thing, like they said, if they didn't even know about it, how can they, forewarn you? You're going to be wrestling, and you're willing to say, yeah, I'll take the bump. It's the job. This isn't, tiddlywinks. James, what are your thoughts?
I feel like there's a few things, and I have to be on WWE side, really, is that, you think about it nowadays, everybody's going to come out and say, oh, I'm going to sue you for concussions. Because, this basically is something new, basically. Everybody's coming out, oh, I've worked under concussions. And basically, in the old days, you wouldn't know what's a concussion or whatnot. And they didn't know how to treat concussions in the old days. Nowadays, if you concuss, you're sent home. So, I think it's just, and also I feel like this could be, don't they have a statute of limitation on this one or no? That's what I'm wondering too.
If there is, I don't know what the limitation is, to be honest with you.
I just feel like that you're asking this about what almost 30 years. So I just don't see this going past.
All right. And Lance, anything else?
Well, I do have another topic that if we have time.
Okay, if you want to do another topic, go ahead.
Well, I was just thinking, is the era of the big man in WWE gonna die when Vince leaves? And what did we think the Triple H era will look like?
You know what? That's actually a very good subject. Andy, what do you think would happen when Vince does eventually pass on? Because we're going to see a whole different new subject. For me, I think that Triple H will make everything go right around the NXT and all those wrestlers. Would you agree or disagree?
As you know, I'm not a big fan of anything that Triple H has done, whether it's his career or whatever it is. I can just see it being a posh, independent wrestling show. That's all. I really can. Everything he touches turns to shit. I mean, look at Stephanie about 8-9 years ago. She's quite attractive now. She looks a bit of a moose. She's almost a clone now of China. If she puts any more muscular definition on, she'll turn into China. I mean, the bloke everything he touches sucks.
I think she would have done that with or without him. I think that was all her.
Yeah, since he's come on the scene and he's married Stephanie, I've seen bad for the company. The company, to me, it could be just a coincidence, but to me, since Triple H has been a big headlining star in the WWE, supposedly taking over from Vince, and it's been widely known that that's what he's doing, I've seen nothing good come out of the company at all. To me, it's like watching Friends. I don't want to watch. I know it's called sports entertainment. I don't want to watch what we call in the UK a soap opera. I don't want to watch Friends. I want to watch a wrestling show. And to me, he's turning it into Friends with a bit of violence.
No, I agree with you. But the problem is I don't think it's not entirely Triple H. You have to realize it's also Stephanie, too.
Yeah, Stephanie's senior writer, so you're not telling me that husband and wife don't sit there and discuss and she says, yeah, I'll do that, and I'll do that, and I'll do that. Because I know women like to think they've got the upper hand with their husbands, but we wear the trousers in the relationship, and if she wants her fanny bashing, she's going to say what he wants her to say, really.
So you're going to tell me that you think she's the type of person who's going to listen to everything her husband wants to do?
I'm not saying she's going to listen to everything, but she's going to listen to his ideas, because at the end of the day, he's got more experience in the business than she was born into it. I think Triple H has got more of a wrestling head on his shoulders than Stephanie has. Stephanie is just money-driven. So I think when it comes down to decisions, she probably says, this is my idea. What do you think, dear? And he'll put his chip in. And I think he's got a bigger influence than most people, realise. I mean, the only good thing I can say in Triple H's defence is I've recently started to watch NXT, and that is Triple H's baby. But to me, again, that's coming over as a cheap rip-off of Raw.
The NXT, I think, is going to be the future, and that's what he's going to try to evolve it around, is moving those guys right up to the next level, and help that company.
Wasn't the idea, though, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't the idea originally of NXT, people go in there with nothing, basically, they get chosen by wrestlers, or the fans, all fixed anyway, who it's chosen by, supposedly get the support from the fans, get a following from the fans, and then the winner got a contract with the WWE. It's as though they've all got contracts who are in NXT, and it's as though they are building, which is not a bad thing, but they're building a career for somebody in NXT, and then they want to transfer that career over to the WWE. There was two guys I was watching the other night when it was on, and I thought, they've got better gimmicks than fucking Moxie's got at the moment.
While they're in NXT, it's only development. The second you get in WWE, that character is pretty much wiped clean.
I don't think I think Triple H is trying to build a character and carry it through. That's what I think his goal is.
Andy's kind of correct, because there's a couple of gimmicks that went from NXT to the main roster that is not working right now. You look at Bo Dallas, you look at Adam Rose. Those two gimmicks from NXT is not working on the main roster like it was in NXT. Heck, Emma is. That's another one that was on NXT. That definitely should.
That's the point I'm trying to say. Because when you're in development, it's a totally different field because you're walking. It's like going in from the minor leagues, going right into the major leagues. That is development, and that nobody gets and understands. They may have been superstars. Look at Big E. Big E was huge, and now where is he now? He's trying for his second gimmick. If this one doesn't work, what's going to happen now? He might go back to development. He might never get out of it. But we've got way off track here. James, and let me ask you, what do you see, the WWE going after Vince is gone?
The era of the big man, like Lance would say, will be gone once McMahon leaves. I think Triple H is gonna try to bring that NXT type style. We're getting new people involved and bring them to the main roster.
All right, Lance, how do you see this happening?
I see it coming more towards NXT myself for a few reasons. One, with Vince McMahon still in the picture, hell no. Main reason, Vince hates NXT, but that's Triple H's baby, so he's not going to screw with it. Vince leaves, I can see that style coming more and more to the main stage because Triple H would be one of the main two people in charge. So, and two, because the style of wrestling in NXT is that high flying or is basically what's hot on the indie scene right now. And that could draw hell of a lot of people better than the style, the limited movesets these guys have now. And that Triple H lets them show off, nothing but the sky is the limit.
All right. Well, we're going to move on to one of our final segments of the night, and that is James's What If.
Thank you, Rick. This one is going to be a fun one. This actually begs the question, what if The Undertaker's undefeated streak at WrestleMania never existed? And that streak started at, I think, WrestleMania 8? Or
that was the streak set at WrestleMania 7 against Jimmy Snuka.
Okay, WrestleMania 7, thank you. But basically, it went on for 21 different WrestleManias where he won and was undefeated. Really, nobody thought of that, having a big thing until about 21 or.
Yeah, it was around the badass gimmick, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, after that, it was the second Dead Man gimmick, basically. That's when everybody started talking more and more about the streak. They mentioned, he was undefeated, but they didn't put that much hype until when he came back as the Dead Man again. Now, the question is, what if that streak never happened? Would The Undertaker would be relevant, and would he continue wrestling until now, basically? Until, WrestleMania 30? Let's start off with Rick.
I mean, you know what? A lot of people think that streak is what made The Undertaker's career, and to be honest with you, if you ask me, I think The Undertaker would be legendary no matter who he was. With or without that streak. A lot of people would disagree with me, but I think, you know what? His matches was what made him legendary. If you took that streak away and just put all those matches together, what would be the difference? Nothing. With the exception of the past few years where he's been coming back and forth, that's probably what's kept his longevity of his career, because he came back for just one match. Other than that, I see no real purpose for it. That's just for the fans. It's more for the fans than it is for him.
Ash? I mean, not Ash. Andy, sorry.
Yeah, I think I'll go with Rick. I don't think if he hadn't got the streak, he'd have gone as long as he did. Yeah, he's a phenomenal wrestler, but I think we all know 5-6 years ago he should have hung up his boots, and I think it's only the reputation that kept him going. So without the streak, I don't think he'd have been going as long as he has been now.
Well, you're right. It wasn't when he was. It was a while before they realized, hey, this son of a bitch is undefeated at WrestleMania. Holy shit. So this is kind of a thing in itself. Would it have made him less legendary? Because the shit he was doing before they realized, he's undefeated at WrestleMania? Woohoo. But honestly, he probably would have retired after HBK 1 or 2. Probably.
To me, I agree with y'all. Is that, he made himself legendary with that character. It was the character that made The Undertaker, not the streak. The thing is that the longevity, basically. Would he have lasted all the way to WrestleMania 30? I wouldn't say that. I think I would say he would have stopped at WrestleMania 26 after HBK 2. Because I think, they would do... And basically it's like, oh, they made so much emphasis on the streak after 21, 22. It's basically streak, basically. Who's gonna beat the streak? It's just that I didn't want to see him continue on. I just felt like, yeah, the streak's important, but why would you need the streak, basically?
And that's gonna wrap it up for this edition of Hardcore Wrestling Radio. Make sure you put your comments in the comments section below, and make sure you punch that like button while you're at it. Andy, where can everyone find you at?
Yes, you can find me at www.stokehaunted.com.
We have the incomparable Lance Moss in the house, and you can find him at youtube.com/LanceMossTV. Lance, what do you got going on?
Album reviews, NASCAR discussion videos, redneck Norman cooking videos, bunch of musical equipment reviews, some rants, and whatever else I feel like doing. And if you haven't subscribed, why hadn't you?
Get on over there and subscribe. And last and certainly not least, we have James from the Big Easy. James, what do you got going on?
Me, myself, I'm still working. I got a wedding this weekend. But after that, I will be on ivlog.tv/user/fatboy504. Where you see me do game shows, wrestling talk, and other random stuff. And you can find me on twitch.tv/fatboy504 starting on next Tuesday, as I get the new WWE 2K15 game for the PS4.
And of course, you can always find us over at facebook.com/Hardcore Wrestling Radio. And if you want to check us out firsthand, you can always check us over at YouTube, Daily Motion, and now over at SoundCloud. Just look up for the word HWR Show. So for everyone here, I'm your hardcore host, Rick Head, saying we'll see you when we see you. Thank you for listening to this edition of Hardcore Wrestling Radio. Make sure you follow us at any one of our locations, whether it's YouTube, Daily Motion, and now SoundCloud.com under the name HWR Show. Until the next time, this is your hardcore host, Rick Head, saying we'll see you when we see you.